Hey, welcome back to Score on Business. So, Donna,
Yep.
you in the previous segment, you made the point over and over that it doesn't take a lot of money to listen to your customers, to talk with them when they're, if you have a store, when they're in a store, if you call on them, when you call on them, perhaps a survey. And it's so powerful and so inexpensive to do that.
Yeah.
Why don't more folks do that? Why don't more businesses do that?
Yeah, good question. And you know, there's three things that I hear most often. One, a small business owner is busy and tired.
Yeah.
And every day when I look in the mirror, I'm a small business owner who's trying to do a lot in a little bit of time. But that really isn't any excuse. This is something to find the space for and to figure out how to get this done. The second is they think it's going to be expensive. And it isn't. We already talked about free survey tools that are out there that you can find. Ways to get feedback from customers when they're right in your store, when they're on your website. Invite them in for coffee and ask them then. So it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And the third is folks really are still not convinced of the power of the voice of the customer and what knowledge you can gain and what insight your customers are willing to give to you, and then how you can leverage it. You can leverage it to create more customers. You can leverage it to brag on yourself, and again, just fine-tune what you're doing so that you're more efficient. You're doing the things that matter to your customers, and you're eliminating the stuff that they don't like.
Right. And can you think of an example of a company you've worked with where they have gone and gotten, and you've helped them get that, and then they put it to use? Yeah.
I can tell you a really simple example, and this is about what we were doing well and how we leveraged that.
Okay.
I was working with a client, and their customers loved the fact that they got next day delivery. And that was standard operating procedure. Everybody got next day delivery. But we took a look at that and said, how can we make that a big deal? Because customers already like it, so how can we make it even a bigger deal? So we changed the scripting on the website, we changed the scripting that the employees were saying, and instead of just saying, you are going to get your package tomorrow, they said, good news, I can get you your package tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we were highlighting something we already knew mattered to customers, what we already knew they were really fond of, and just making it a bigger deal for them.
And you knew it because you asked.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, is it much of an issue for companies just to assume they have happy customers?
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. There's this silent majority sometimes. It's called your passive population, and those are the customers that are satisfied, but they're not overwhelmed. If they have a coupon to go somewhere else, they're going to go. If another location opens up that's closer to where they live or more convenient, they're going to go there. And so don't assume that if you're not hearing any complaints, that means that everybody is happy.
Yeah, okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. And, you know, what's the value of customer opinion? Why should companies care about the customer's opinion? Yeah,
well, there's one reason why companies should care, and I'm going to sum it up into technology.
Okay.
And what technology means is we're in a digital age now.
Yeah.
So the funny thing that's happening is we're paying attention to online reviews.
Yes.
We are doing research. We are making purchasing decisions before we even go to a website or go into a store. And the really unique thing is we're listening to the opinions of strangers. We don't know most of the people who are leaving reviews, but we're paying attention to those reviews, we're trusting their opinion, and we're making our decisions based on that. And if I can take you back, you know, 100 years before all of this happened, a company would get a complaint letter in the mail that would just be internally to that company. No one would see it, just a few people internally. They would fix the problem. It would take them maybe 2 weeks and everything was fine. Then email comes along, and well, you can send an email to more than one person. So a little bit more visibility, a little bit more folks in the company are seeing the complaint. And then that email gets forwarded to more and more people. Now we have Angie's List, we have Yelp, Yahoo. Review sites are popping up all of the time. You can't keep track of them, right?
Yes.
And so strangers are posting reviews. Non-customers who you've never met are looking at the reviews.
Yeah.
If you roll Facebook and Twitter into that, one consumer can influence thousands of people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that Comcast is aware of that now.
Yeah.
I think Target is aware of that now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is just huge. And so if you think, the voice of the customer doesn't matter, or, my business is on a great trajectory, it's in good shape, I don't know why I need to tap into the voice of the customer, that's just short-sighted. You really need to be listening, because if you aren't, everyone else is.
It's really hard for me to think about not caring about the customer.
Yeah.
I started my career at FedEx, and when we got our paychecks, there was a statement on there. It said, "A satisfied customer made this check possible."
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it's where the bread gets buttered. And so that really is. Tell us about some other things. You tell us about another client and what you've done with them.
Yeah, sure. And the other thing about that FedEx story is I know that is something that started from the top down.
Yeah.
That's something that the executives believed in and wanted to filter down. So as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, that's something you need to start right away.
Right.
That passion for the customer, that willingness to take customer insights and do something with it. Because as your business grows, like you want it to, that needs to be from the top. Everyone needs to understand that and start doing that right away.
That is so important. I mean, it was known when I was there, and I'm sure it's been a long time. I'm sure they're still the same way. You didn't want a customer calling your boss and complaining. Right. It was not going to just be brushed under the carpet.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the top down really matters.
It does matter. I'll give you another example. Small business here locally wanted to do a survey. And when you talk about inexpensive ways to get feedback, we did a clipboard survey. They had an outdoor fair, they had a booth there, and we decided, let's go inexpensive and convenient, and let's do a clipboard survey, and we did. And they were convinced that most of the people there were loyal to them. They knew they were a family-owned business and had been in that town for 30 years. And when we asked customers, guess what? Half of them did know that, and half of them had no idea. So they learned right away at the end of that event that they needed to do something. They needed to promote their place in that neighborhood. They needed to promote that they were a family-owned business. That was something they were relying on. They expected customers to know, and in fact, half of their customers had no idea.
Yeah.
So very quickly, you can get useful information that helps build those relationships, that helps tell your story. Right? Another thing with customer feedback is it helps you tell the story. Here's what we're good at. Here's what keeps bringing people back. Here's why we're able to grow, because we care about customers and we do these things. And what a great story for a small business to be able to tell.
And I think knowing what we're good at, that is just so important.
Yeah.
And what makes sense to me is to identify what you do well and focus on that.
Focus on it, and I'll give you a little tip here. One of the bonuses on doing that is you can then hire for people that have those characteristics and have those attributes. So small business owners, entrepreneurs, it's tough hiring people. When you finally have the funds and you bring someone on, you want it to work. You don't have time to invest in interviewing or training. And so by understanding what your customers are looking for, you can hire people who have those qualities. It makes it a slam dunk.
Okay.
Right from the beginning.
Good. So we need to take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk more. Okay. Hey, remember, scorenashville.org. Thanks. We'll be right back.